Welcome to the PTA Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, John Caligiuri, coming by my co-host, Nick Kelling. Nick, how you doing
Hey,
this morning?
great.
It
A
is a
fantastic
pleasure
morning.
to finally get with Nick. We're doing a little early AM recording on this Thursday. So Nick, kind of fill us in. How you been? What have you been up to?
Yeah, just fixing some small stuff around my house, and then grinding on those listings. Listings is everything in real estate.
That is for sure. Been hooking and jabbing a lot with a lot of listings. What are the things you got to fix up around the house?
Well, I did some ducting and with the HVAC, and you need to make sure, especially when you have a small attic and in a crawl space like that, you got to make sure you put boards down just so you make sure your elbows don't go through your drywall. I definitely did that. I got to do some drywall work now.
So you were up in your attic and you put your hand through the
Yep,
wall.
my elbow right through the drywall.
What
So I
did
got
your what did your wife have to say about that?
she was not happy. It was in our guest room. So yeah, we're gonna have to do some drywall patching.
Yeah, it's nothing you can't handle.
No, done it before. Do it again.
And that kind of leads into our topic. Of we both purchased homes, single family homes, at a fairly young age, and I kind of want to get your point of view. Like, what systems and strategies did you utilize to be able to afford a home? Because as a banker, when you talk about home ownership with people, hell, 40 and below, it almost maybe not 40. I'm going to say 30 and below. It
Yeah.
almost seems impossible for them. So, what are some things that you utilized? Kind of break it down Barney style for the people. What did you do to be able to afford a home before the age of 30? And before really, because I feel like a lot of people like in their head, they need to go to school, go to college, get a good job, buy a house. I believe that is the order, like the sequence of events they believe that they need to happen to reach middle class and the American dream. we Me and Nick both know I bought a house as a E4 in the military, making $25,000 a year. And Nick is a realtor. I don't know if we would classify as the most money we've ever made in our lives, but this is kind of like take it away from like what strategy did you utilize to be able to purchase a home?
So I'm married. So we have dual income. My wife, she has a W-2, so banks really like that. They don't really like when you're like, yeah, I'm self-employed. Uh, they're like, yeah, we
They hate
want to
self-employed.
make sure you have a 9 to 5. So it was a little harder on my side to present some income on my part, but my wife has a W-2. They really like that. So a combination of the dual income, which is kind of sad these days that you don't need, but it definitely helps you get your foot in the door if there's two incomes in the one household. But yeah, so W-2 is the way to go. Banks really like the W-2 better, but self-employed, we can still get it done. My lender approves people. I have clients that are self-employed. It's just making sure if you're self-employed is you having consistent income month after month after month. If you have a gap, they don't like that.
Yeah.
So if that is the route that you want to go, make sure it's consistent. They really like that. And then also just save your money. Don't be in credit card debt. If you find yourself in credit card debt, pay it off. Be like, all right, talk to your significant other, or just be honest with yourself. I need to pay this off first. I'm not going to go out to the club. I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to pay this off. And then when you're getting that approval, yeah, you can have some credit card debt maybe, but don't have a huge amount and pay that off. And when you get up that pre-approval, don't go using your credit card every day.
Yeah.
Back off a little bit. You're that 30 days that you have an offer in and you have that pre-approval and you're going through the process, you're going through the ringer, don't spend any money. Just stay home, watch Netflix, look at potential designs of your new house, but don't go buy a boat or don't be going and using your credit card, putting $1,000 on new drapes for the house, buying a new couch on credit. Save that until after closing.
I completely
when
agree.
the deal is completely funded. So I mean, just save money, have a good nest egg, because closing costs are gonna hit you in the ass, especially now. This new ruling, I'm seeing quite a bit of new houses where the sellers think that they can get away with 2%. And if you fall in love with the house that the seller isn't willing to give up the 3% commissions, then you're gonna have to pay it off of your pocket, or a good realtor that won't do that to you and say, okay, I'll take a little bit of a loss on this deal to help you out as a good person. I've done that.
How common are those folk?
That exact situation is not very common. Usually, you do have a conversation with your client about, hey, if they don't pay, then that extra is going to have to come out of your pocket. Do you have that savings? Yes. No. Okay. Well, I'm only going to show you houses that the seller is paying the full concessions, and 99% of the time they're completely okay with that. Because if the sellers are not wanting to pay full commissions on other things, then they're going to just be hard to work with, and you're not going to get the best deal. And that's another thing. Don't go looking for. There's a lot of houses that's going to hit your criteria. Not all of them are going to be priced right. Not all of them are going to be the best interactions. And just because you have an offer accepted, an executed contract, if you're in that option period and you find a bunch of things wrong with it and they're not willing to fix anything, pull out. There's going to be another deal out there, especially the first-time home buyer. You're barely getting your foot in the door. You don't want your first house to be complete disaster, money pit. The mechanical work is just ass, and it's going to cost you a couple $1,000, and the seller won't fix it. Move on. Yeah, it sucks, but there's other houses that meet criteria out there. Now, if you're in a smaller town, maybe not, but here in Houston, you're going to find something else.
That's
so save money.
Fifth largest city in the nation.
So just to recap: save money, work on your credit, but don't be in credit card debt. And then when you're looking for a house, look for a good deal. And just because it's a 10 out of 10, it's the first house you look, or it's the first house you fall in love with, there's others. Don't get beat up if the seller's not willing to meet your demands. Move on. Let's look at more houses.
I completely agree with everything that you had to say. There's nothing I can disagree with. The background on how I purchased my home. I bought my house at 22 years old. I was in E4. I was making $22,000 a year. And I think, the quote about luck is when preparation meets opportunity, that's when you get luck. Full disclosure, I bought my house in 2021. That's when my rate is below 3%. And it was an off-market deal. So how the strategies that I utilized to be able to purchase a home was I started caddying in the 7th grade. And from the 7th grade, through my father, he bought, it was my money, but he bought it in my name, bought stocks, mostly Apple. So I had been saving money since I would say, so I bought it when I was 22. So I had 5 or 6 years of actual savings and growth. And the market jumped up. The stock market was hot. It was inflated in 2021, as well as I had consistent income. Like you said, I had a consistent W-2. Rates were extremely low. And shout out to the Shagwagon, that minivan. Nick knows I had a minivan in Hawaii. It was gold, and it was for $5,000. And what I did was I went to Navy Federal. They're the ones I used. And the minivan was $5,000, but I already had the $5,000 cash. And when my loan was for 60 months, all I did was every month I just put $500 for the principal, and I just paid off the $5,000 loan in 6 months as opposed to the 6 years. And that was the only thing I did not have a credit card till I bought a house. The only thing that was on my credit report was that minivan. And so they said I had a fairly high credit score. And I was able to get a very good rate. So those are the things that I completely agree with Nick, is save and invest your money. And when I say invest your money, I'm not a financial service professional. I'm a banker, but I do not have any of the certs or the degrees to tell you how you save your money. All I can say is I just followed Warren Buffett of invest in the S&P, mutual funds, dividends funds, like you take your 8% and you go home. That is the strategy that I utilized. So when I say save and invest, I mean have a lot of cash savings and then put into low risk like money assets, like in the stock market, like the S&P 500, and like mutual funds, dividends funds. Like, please, if you have any questions, consult a financial advisor. We are not that. So that's what I did, was save and invest my money. I had a good credit score through the minivan. Shout out to Shagwagon. I'm sorry I had to get rid of you. I miss you every day. And then also, I just got lucky that rates were absolutely nothing. I was able to afford a home.
Mm-hmm. And just to recap, I mean, I did the same thing. Bought a vehicle, cheap vehicle. Don't be going to these dealerships buying your Hellcat and then being in debt for 15 years, and then the payments are too high, and then you foreclose on your car or whatever, and now you have horrible credit, and then you try to buy a house. That's just not going to work.
You also have
cheap vehicle. Yep.
I kind of changed my philosophy on the vehicle. I would like to hear we actually could do, if you want to wrap up this episode, the next episode we can talk about vehicles and finance that way, because I utilized what you did, but I have a little bit of wrinkle because of my last car. So I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you everyone for listening. God bless. Have a good rest of your day.